How you doing, guys? Hope you guys are staying warm. Justin here, broker at Texas Ally. Wanted to do a really quick video about what's going on right now. We have a crazy situation with the cold, unprecedented as far as I'm aware. In my entire lifetime living here in Texas, I don't think I've ever seen it get to the single digits before. And so it's kind of crazy. We got, I think in Austin, Texas, we had a hit about one night we had to hit 7 degrees. Another night, I think it was 10, 11. And we're still dropping in. Well, I mean, we're coming out of it, but there's still a ton of people without power right now. And yeah, the grid's getting all screwed up, and hopefully they'll have it up sooner than later. But yeah, it's a crazy situation. Now, that's going to create some new situations for buyers. As a seller, I don't think you're still not going to have any problems selling these houses in the current squeeze that we're in anywhere in Texas. But I'm sure as a buyer, you want to know, are the pipes messed up? So there's a couple things you can do. The most important, I'll name the 3 most common ones you want to worry about with pipes. Water line, so you want the inflow water lines checked. Sewer line, typically. There's a couple tests associated with that one. And as a realtor, you guys mix up, there's 2 types of tests that you guys mix up all the time, and you really need to know the differences, because one of them requires written permission from the seller to do for the potential damages that it can cause. It's a little invasive. It's not that invasive, but the paperwork gets you a little scared, so you should know what they are. So let's go through it. First test, just a standard pressure test. Not to be confused with a hydrostatic pressure test. That's why people get it mixed up all the time. You got a regular inflow waterline pressure test. They just call it a pressure test. And then you have the hydrostatic pressure test. The first one tests the waterline inflow. The hydrostatic pressure test tests the sewer lines. Okay? Completely different systems. And how you test them is completely different. One's not invasive at all. All you got to do is screw it onto the water spigot. The other one, you got to drop a balloon, you expand it, and that's where you can get in trouble. It's where they expand this balloon to block up the PVC. And if it's old and brittle, it'll pop it. It'll break the line right there. It's not that expensive of a fix anyways, but the paperwork is there to protect anybody if there is damage. So let's go through the first one. It's a little $10 pressure thing. They screw it onto the end of the spigot. That's the test. They open the garden spigot, make sure it's open. They turn on the water at the city, then they shut it off after it's been pressurized. So now the system's at pressure. I think I can't remember what the pressure is supposed to be. I think it's supposed to be at 60 psi. The city at the meter, it's supposed to be 60 psi. So you're gonna get 60 psi of pressure flowing into the water lines, and it'll pressurize at that garden spigot where you have it open, wide open. You lock it off at the city line. You leave it on, and you just wait. That's it. So I think they usually wait 15 minutes, and if it stays at whatever psi, the city sets the psi for your municipality. Let's say it's 60 psi, and it stays 60, or maybe it's 59. That's a pass. Now, if in 15 minutes, 20 minutes, and it's like it goes all the way, it goes down to 25, 30, 50, whatever, or it goes down to atmospheric pressure, you definitely got a leak, and that's a serious problem. And then you go into a different, you got to sniff out where the leak is, and that's a whole nother set of tests. But there's a problem. So be ready for that. Second test, hydrostatic test. Nothing to do with the inflow water lines. Has to do with the septic system. Honestly, they can be damaged in this type of event. The first test is probably way more important, because that's the one that's breaking. That's the shit that's breaking all the time. Septic system there's still water, and there's usually, and the older systems, like the septic line is level. It's not running at a slope underneath the house necessarily. So like I'm in a really old house. Our septic line runs at a very low, it's almost flat. And so there's always stuff in there all the time, and if it freezes and expands, it can break stuff, and usually there's joints where that stuff kind of happens and it breaks. But the likelihood of stuff happening on your septic system it usually happens in the joints, but it's still worth checking. Hydrostatic test for that. So what they do for that one they drop a balloon on the other side of your clean out, and they fill your septic system, your sewer lines with water. They fill it up to a certain point on the clean out. And again, same thing. They wait for 30 minutes. They check the water level. If it's dropped, you know you got a problem. That's the test. That's the hydrostatic test. If you're a realtor, you need to know that there is a written permission, a written form that you're supposed to get written permission from the seller in order to perform this test. It's already in your documents. I mean, it's in your zip forms. You need to know that you're supposed to use it. You cannot perform that test without permission from the seller. It's a little invasive. The main reason why it's invasive is because of that stupid balloon. And even then, like if you look at the permission form, it can scare the shit out of anybody. But the main reason why it's there is because that balloon on the other side of the clean out can break the sewer line right there. Because if the guy pressures it up too fast and too big, and is not paying attention and is just being careless, or if the PVC is a little brittle, it's gonna break the thing right there. And it's not, at least it's not underneath the house. That would be catastrophic. So, anyways, that's that. Honestly, I would, if you were me, if I were a person trying to inspect the sewer lines, I would just completely skip that test anyways, because you got to get permission. It's mildly invasive, and the part beyond that's kind of funny is that, like, even if that test fails, you still got to do this second test to locate the stupid leak, which is you got to stick a camera down the system. So, you know, pay $300 for this hydrostatic test, or just go straight to the camera test, which is just they stick a special camera line system that they run down the cleanouts, and they go down each line and they look for breaks in the sewer lines. Okay, and it's a really cool technology. So like they'll run these things down there, and then as soon as they have like a little LCD screen with a camera, and they're running it down the fucking sewer lines, and then as soon as they see a break, they'll mark it on the system, and then they'll actually go around with they have like a little radar detector thing that they'll go around, like almost like a metal detector, over the slab. It's kind of cool. So they just go and they pop it and they find that thing, and they find the light and they mark it, and they know exactly where the sewer line is. And so they do that through every single sewer line, whatever. It's about the same price of a hydrostatic test. So, I mean, honestly, like, just go to that. Less invasive. You're not putting any pressures on the PVC or whatever sewer line system you guys got. And yeah, that's it. So the type of breakage that I'm seeing, that my friends are telling me about online and asking us about, dude, plumbers are making so much money right now this week. Holy crap. I heard somebody was telling me just to cap off a gas line they were trying to charge. There's some assholes making some money in here during this situation, which is fucked up. Like, yeah, pay for your time for sure, but like, you know, $200 to cap a gas line. What the hell is that? You know, it's like, you know, did it take you 3 hours to get there? I doubt it. You know, 1 hour drive. You know, let's say it's a 1 hour trip or whatever. $100 makes sense. $200-300 or whatever. I mean, hopefully I guess part of it's like you got to pay for your trip. So I'm not going to disrespect that part. So the type of damage that comes from these type of events, honestly, is on the exterior of the house. That's what you're going to find. Okay. So I've seen some garden spigots break. I have some friends where their garden spigots broke. I mean, you can just talk to any of your friends. Garden spigots, water heaters. If your water heater is located on the outside of your house, so there's no insulation, ours is in the middle, like at the back of the garage, so it's like in the center of the house. So like, we haven't had a single issue. We did have our power go out. That's a, you know, yeah, that's a whole nother situation. But anything on the outside of the house, if it's not well insulated, if your water heater's on the outside of the house, if it's like one in those like weird tiny closet on the outside of the house, you're gonna have issues. You need that thing running all the time, and I don't know what to tell you. You got to be using it and having it move that water so it doesn't sit and freeze on the lines. The one that I've seen break a lot over this past week is the tankless water heaters. For similar reasons. It's on the outside of the house. The lines are exposed. The lines are where it breaks. And yeah, you got it. I think it's just a terrible design idea. Why the fuck will you put that on the... Why the hell are you putting that on the outside of the house, you know? Anyways, that's pretty much it, y'all. Just make sure those are the tests you need to do. If something comes up or if it fails one of those tests, you know something's up and you're going to have to get one of the more expensive tests to locate and sniff out where the leaks are. The inflow water pressure test is super simple. Honestly, you guys can buy your own pressure thing. I would honestly, if you're worried about damaging anything, just let the inspector do it. And yeah, that's all you got, man. So my name is Justin Martinez. I'm the broker for Texas Ally. Let me know if you have any questions, and if you have any ideas that you want me to talk about, let me know. Thanks.